because sometimes even God allows silence to prepare something greater. Although Jesus knew of Lazarus's pain, he went to Bethany because Lazarus was not a disciple, he was a friend. And there he saw Lazarus's open arms, longing to wrap Jesus in a strong and sincere embrace, a fraternal embrace, an embrace that Lazarus needed, although he hid his pain. 3 ordinary people, 3 hearts that loved Jesus, without asking for miracles, only for his presence. Here I am with them. And what if I tell you something about them? Mary listened with her heart. She anointed the Lord's feet with her hair. Martha, she was the lady of the house. Martha took care of the home. Martha loved by serving. Lazarus knew pain and also hope. 3 hearts, one same love. Jesus discovered what Lazarus was hiding. They were joyful days that passed, and then Jesus and we continued the journey. Jesus was on the other side of the Jordan, far from Bethany, when he received the message that Lazarus was sick. Despite the warning that Lazarus was sick, Jesus waited 2 days to return. Through tears, Martha and Mary told Jesus that Lazarus had died. Then Jesus said with a firm voice, "Lazarus, rise up." Lazarus returned to life.
Zalt's tips. What Jesus was like physically. Have you ever been curious about what Jesus looked like physically? Jesus was a real man. He lived in a specific time, walked through towns and roads, and shared daily life with people. The men of his time usually had dark, wavy, medium-length hair. They wore beards, not as a fashion, but as a custom. His eyes, according to historical studies, may have been warm tones, between honey and dark brown. He was not a fragile figure. He was a simple man, firm, close, and with a good sense of humor. Jesus probably had a height above the average of his time, with a strong body, accustomed to walking long distances and to working. Zalt's tips. The ages of the apostles. John was probably the youngest of the group, perhaps between 15 and 18 years old. He did not speak much. He listened. He observed. Peter, impulsive. He may have been around 30 years old. He was not perfect. He doubted, failed, felt fear. He was human. He was real. Andrew did not seek the spotlight. He did not need to be seen. He understood that it was not necessary to shine. James had fire, character, passion, because character is also formed. Philip asked questions. He doubted. He thought. He wanted to understand. Matthew was a tax collector, looked down on, judged, different. Thomas doubted. He needed to see, to touch, to understand. James the Less did not stand out. He made no noise, but he remained. Judas could have been different. Most likely, the apostles were very young, mostly late teenagers and young adults, 15 to 30 years old. Jewish discipleship. From the age of 13, bar mitzvah, young people could follow a rabbi as apprentices. It was normal to leave home and learn by walking alongside the teacher. The temple tax, Matthew 17:24 through 27, Jesus tells Peter to pay the tax only for the 2 of them, which suggests that the others were under 20 years old and were not required to pay it. Jesus placed in the hearts of young, imperfect, and brave people the greatest message in the world.
Bethany was a small village near Jerusalem, approximately 3 kilometers away, about 15 to 20 minutes walking. Distance. Bethany was a small village very close to Jerusalem. Lazarus and his sisters, Martha and Mary, lived there. It was a simple place, but very special because Jesus used to stay there. Ancient Bethany. In biblical times, Bethany was not a large city. It was a small village with no exact records of how many people lived there. It was a rural, family-oriented, welcoming community with families like that of Lazarus, Martha, and Mary, and other close neighbors. There is no precise population data, but compared to neighboring villages of that time, it most likely had from a few dozen to a few hundred inhabitants, as was common in villages of the 1st century AD. What was produced before and what is produced today? In biblical times, life in ancient Bethany was rural and agricultural, such as olive trees for oil and food, fig trees, sweet fruit, almond trees and dry crops, and small livestock such as sheep and goats. Al-Izariya. Today, Bethany is known as Al-Izariya, a name that means the place of Lazarus, located in the West Bank near Jerusalem. Current map. And it still preserves the memory of Lazarus, a place where history, faith, and daily life continue to meet. Current population. Approximately 22,000 to 23,000 inhabitants, according to modern statistics. It is a predominantly Palestinian Arab community with urban life, markets, houses, and schools. Today, the economy is more diverse and has adapted to an urban population. Local commerce, shops, markets, services, restaurants, workshops, and small businesses, handicrafts, textiles, traditional souvenirs, and local products supported by community associations. Religious tourism, pilgrims who visit the tomb of Lazarus and historical sites. Only for the two of them, which suggests that the others were under 20 years old and were not required to pay it. Jesus placed in the hearts of young, imperfect, and brave people the greatest message in the world.